Hey everyone, here's a widget making tutorial using the laser cutter in BMED 2300. This is what the widget is that I'm going to make. It's a little staircase thing, just a 3 tall, 3 deep, and then 1 wide. So we go into SolidWorks. You want to make sure to activate that line formatting tool, and that gives you access to line weights and colors and stuff like that. I've already taken my design and put it all in one dimension. And now I can go through and color all the lines red, or color any of my cut lines a certain color that I want to do. I'm going to do my cut lines red and my score lines blue. Scoring is when you cut halfway through the paper, and that way it creates a really nice fold. And so we'll just go through here and click all the separate little lines. This is the most tedious part, but it really helps you think through your design, your two-dimensional design that's going to fold into your widget. And we just finish up here. And good, and then we're going to go down and select the color tool and make them all red. And then SolidWorks does its thing, makes them all red. That's great. Now we're going to do the blue lines. These are just our inner lines. We want to make sure that everything's separate, nice and even. And then we'll make them all blue. Now we're going to move into actually printing to the laser cutter, which is the exciting part, at least for me. And so we go make sure it's VLS 6.6 and go to your line thickness, make sure they're all 0.002 inches. That way the laser knows exactly what to cut, and then we can really make sure that we're not cutting out too much. And so our go into our printer, which is our laser, and this is the software you can get from Marty. And you can kind of go into the initial system settings in a second here. There we go, system. And then you want to enable auto Z, and if you were hooked up to the laser cutter it would say auto Z right there's a little checkbox, and you select the 2-inch lens and you go into settings. And I like to start with the closest material possible, so if we're using Bristol boards the next closest would be construction paper. And you add your material thickness and apply. Go to manual control. This is where you can more acutely adjust exactly what all your values are. So we want to set our black to skip because a lot of times SolidWorks will have a little emblem saying, student edition, this is a drawing kind of thing in black. And so you want to say, hey, I don't want to cut those lines. I only want to cut the ones I've already changed. And so you make sure to set those to blue and red or any other color besides black. And then we can adjust our power settings. So these are things I've played with. For the score line, it's about 25 power, 70-ish speed, 75. And then red is a lot more power and a similar speed. We'll hit OK. And then we're done basically. We can hit this print, and then I'll show you on the next step what that actually looks like. Okay, so here we are, and we can hit our play button, and there it goes. Now here you can see that our score lines make a really nice fold, and then the rest of it is pretty intact. So that's exactly what we want. And how I like to piece mine together, instead of making flaps on the edge, I like to make these little band-aid pieces where you put one score line down the middle, and you have these big blocks that you can use to paste everything together. And that's really nice because it keeps everything on the same plane when you're gluing it together, and that's really convenient for me. Also, we're using Elmer's glue. You want to really kind of spread it out and make it into a paste, more tacky. so that it doesn't get the Bristol board too wet and really warp it. This is something that a lot of students do, is that they'll over apply the glue, and it's really obvious once the entire widget is completed. So here are the first couple steps. There's that band-aid in there, but it makes a really nice crease on the outside, which is all we really care about. We want to make sure that the outside looks as good as possible. So, and then we move on to skipping ahead, a little tower here in the back. I'm going to continue to add more pieces. Right now there looks like 3 band-aids in there. And it's out of focus. And there we are. Lots of little band-aids in there, but as long as we're keeping it clean on the outside, that's all that really matters. So here we have our final widget. It looks pretty good. It's really great on tolerances because the laser is much more precise than the average person with an X-Acto knife. It's not exactly perfect. Not all the lines are there, but it doesn't have to be perfect to get a solid B or an A. This is mostly a demonstration of how to use a laser cutter so you can make an even better one. But really, this is a pretty good widget. I'm pretty happy with it in general. Of course, it's not perfect, which I would like, but overall, it's a job well done. And then we can see here in the tolerances that it falls within the 20,000s that we need. It has about 8. It's off by 8-ish, 8,000. So that's pretty good. Thank you, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below.